Hey folks, welcome to A Racer's Perspective live stream. We stream weeknights 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Today is Monday, August 21st. And today I wanted to talk about something that is not new at all. It's been around for a long time. But I want to make sure people are aware of it. And that's the Arena Commander rec system. Racing is probably the best use of the rec system in my opinion, because if you're a racer, not only do you get tons of rec for matches, kind of puts dogfighting and Star Marine modules to shame when it comes to the rec earned. Not only do you earn a lot of rec racing in Star Citizen, but you can then spend it on the ships they have rentable, and fly all these ships for free. Get to experience the variety, and you don't have to open your pocketbook at all for this. So I want to spend the next few streams not necessarily all consecutive. There might be gaps here and there where I talk about other things or present on other things, but I want to kind of make my way through the rec list of ships. There's quite a few, and I've got a Aurora race on the screen. This actually was a race I did just a few moments before the stream started. I want to start with Aurora ships, kind of make my way through, not necessarily alphabetically, but just kind of through the list. So tonight I want to race some Aurora ships. I'm going to do a few test laps with all four, and then I'll hop into to some races. Some live races with whichever model I like the best. I don't expect there to be a huge difference, maybe not even any noticeable difference between the different models, but maybe there'll be one that catches my fancy a little bit more than the others. I did spend a little bit of time practicing 4 or 5 races before the stream, because I normally fly the M50, and that's so different in the way it handles. Aurora's kind of like a VW bus, where the M50 is more like a Ferrari. So I wanted to take the time to adjust sort of some of my muscle memory to the ship that I'm going to be flying tonight. So it's hopefully not too terribly embarrassing. As you can see, I'm not nearly as fast. I'm about 10 seconds slower than a lot of the Crux Cup winners in Aurora. So you can go a lot faster than a 54-second lap in an Aurora. So here's some of the rec ships. Actually, these are all the rec ships. I had to fit them over 3 pages. So by no means all the ships in the game, but quite a few, and really all the racers you'd expect. I'm hoping that with the release of 3.0 and the Razor that we will see that on this list. I hope we'll see the Nox as well. We'll see. So I'm going to focus on these fellas tonight. The 4 versions of the Aurora. I know there are some slight differences. Top speed. They may handle a little bit differently. It's hard to say. I imagine this will all be worth doing again when 3.0 comes out and we've got the ship's 2.0 system. Because right now the game doesn't really account fully for weight and all the equipment you have loaded out, but I do think that there's some basic handling differences between the four models as they exist now in the PU. Hopefully that's the case. We'll see. Now I did make some adjustments to my setup. I use a Corsair K95 and a Logitech G900. So I do use mouse and keyboard. A lot of pilots use dual sticks. That'd be awesome. Personally, I've decided not to invest in any extra peripherals specifically for Star Citizen until the game comes out. These are, obviously mouse and keyboard I can use for any PC task. I do think a good mouse especially is worth investing in, at least if you're going to race in Star Citizen, mostly so that you can tweak the sensitivity settings on the mouse. So I did that for the Aurora. Again, coming from the M50, I'm used to certain sort of turn responses, and the Aurora driving like a bus is quite a bit different. So I created an additional setting on my mouse for much higher DPI, almost triple what I would normally use for the M50. And that's just going to help me make my turns a little bit sharper without having to really crank the mouse. So, I mean, obviously you want to be able to keep the mouse on the pad while you play, and you want to be able to balance that out with being able to make fine adjustments. If you do see me kind of wildly turning in the Aurora, it's because I've jerked the mouse when I'm flying my ship a little too slow, and I've got that high sensitivity making me turn real fast. So it might seem a little spastic at times, but it's going to serve me well in terms of being able to really race the Aurora precisely, because this thing is like flying a brick. So anyway, that's the setup. Again, I'm going to be flying Auroras tonight. So let's go ahead and just get started. We'll start out with the CL, because why not? And let's see how it goes. Okay, launching the game. So I think I'll do about 5 laps in each ship, just to kind of warm up, get a sense of how they feel, talk about them a bit. So the CL is what I was practicing with, so it's kind of my default here. Really, you need to use acceleration with this ship to help you make turns. This would have been a good night to have better cheddar on. I know he didn't experience the best of luck in the finals of the Crux Cup when they did the Aurora race, but that guy can pull 47-second laps on a good day in the Aurora, something that I can't even fathom, much less really do. have a basic sense of how he does what he does, but I don't have the patience to practice it. I don't know, maybe someday. So I've gotten pretty comfortable with the CL by now. Again, it's the first Aurora I've tried, so it's hard to compare it to the others at this point. But you can see the top speed's 435. And with the DPI set up higher, it's doesn't handle all that poorly. One of the things that I was worried about, this being a bigger ship than the M50, albeit not a whole lot bigger, I was worried about not being able to follow my line, but it seems to be slender enough that I can pretty much follow all the same paths, which is nice. I'm a lazy racer, so if I don't have to make any changes, I prefer that. Getting a little drifty here. You can see I'm just nowhere near that 47-second mark. That a lot of respect for that time. Okay, we're on lap 4, so I'll do this one. I'll do one more lap, and we'll see if the next one flies any different. Oh, okay. That's one of the things I like about the Aurora. This thing flies like a brick, and it survives like a brick too. I crashed, and I didn't even really feel the need to respawn. I just keep going. You just kind of bounce off of the object and walk it off, so to speak. No problem. Doesn't even look, oh no, I've got a little damage on my wing. I was gonna say, it didn't even look like my ship was damaged. Alright. I do really like racing this ship. I kind of wish that it was possible to participate in multiple classes in the Crux Cup. It would have been great fun to do the Aurora races as well. Okay, we'll end it there. Looks like I managed 54 seconds. 0.42. After 5 laps, let's see if I can do any differently or any better in the next race. Okay, this is the ES that I'm flying now. We'll see how it goes. It's tempting to say it accelerates a little differently, That could be my imagination. But you notice the higher top speed of 450. It could also be because I accelerate on a linear path. It could be that acceleration just simply takes longer because you have a higher speed to get up to. I don't really know for sure though. It does seem like it takes a little longer to get going. I'm curious to see how that might mix with the top speed. That's actually a decently significant difference, especially on a track that you're able to go top speed fair amount of the time. Keep waiting to see if I'm gonna pass out in an Aurora. That would sure be an honor. It doesn't seem possible though, coming from the M50, that that would really be a thing. I feel like I usually slow down to about 350 or 450 on turns from my M50 to get through the ring. So that being my top speed. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Can I do it? Can I? Yes. Alright. Again, you just kind of bounce off and go. No respawn required. I love that part. Oh, I've already beaten my best lap. I think it was 54:42 before, something like that. So that extra speed is really helping me, at least. Alright, let's make this lap count. That means don't get too reckless. Just push it a little bit more. Oh gosh. I did not follow my own advice. But hey, we recovered safely. Something that all racers will have to adjust to when racing becomes more of a thing on the PU is how to fly conservatively, how to fly realistically enough that you'd actually survive the race. Races are really arcadey right now. Pilots don't mind blacking out, crashing, etc. too much, because it just costs you some time. So 53, 56, almost a second faster. Of course, that could be practice, because now I'm at 10 laps under my belt instead of just 5. So we'll see how it goes. So let's check out the next ship. So I might have called the last ship the EL is the ES. In case I did. This is the LN, the Aurora LN. That felt a little more drift. I'm feeling that just generally with this one. Looks like top speed is 435, so we're back to a slower speed here. You'll notice on some of the turns I'm slowing down just a little bit so I can accelerate back up again. That's me using the throttle in order to assist my turn. Might have been just a bad beginning. I'm not noticing excessive drift now. Again, it could also be the speed change. We'll see here. I'm curious to see what my fast lap will be. I'd say if it's significantly slower than 54 seconds, then we're probably talking about difference in handling between this and the CL, I think, the first Aurora. So this has been a pretty good lap. Look at the top of the screen here, see what I manage. Oh no, looks like right about 54 seconds. So this is definitely not handling any worse. And by definitely I mean maybe. Whoa, don't do that. The tendency to want to take that ring a little quick. And you got a billboard in a building right there to punish you if you get too careless. Alright, our last lap. So even with more practice, you can see that the higher top speed on the ES gives you a bit of an edge. Handling didn't feel significantly worse. Okay, I'm just selecting my next race and ship here, bear with me. Alright, this one is the LX. I assume the fancier version of the LN. Alright, your pilot's getting a little drunk here. So that did not give me nearly as sharp a turn as I would have expected. Again, could be a fluke. First time, you never really know. But the way I'm drifting, I have to guess that this ship might have slightly inferior handling. I'm gonna really focus up this lap. We'll see if we can't disprove that theory. So it might be a little bit more quiet as I attempt to do good. Notice the 450 top speed, so we're back up there. So to me, this LX feels like a more difficult to drive ES. It's got the same speed as the ES. Whoa, that was way too quick. It's got the same speed as the ES, but it seems to handle like a heavier brake. So again, this isn't exactly a scientific test, but based on feel alone, I have to say the LX is my least favorite Aurora, unless the MR really does something stinky. It's just harder to handle without really any advantages to make up for that. Oh. I must have hit something. Well, I won't miss this one. Oh, jeez. And by miss this one, I did not mean the ring. I meant I will not miss the ship. So I'd like to think it's not all in my head. That a fairly subtle difference can make have a pretty big impact on how a ship flies and feels. Okay, so we're heading into the last ship, and then I'm going to do some live races. Unless the MR really impresses, I'll probably end up flying the ES for those races. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so this one's got a heftier top speed, which is nice. But it also seems to have the handling of the LX. I don't know, we'll see how the other laps go. In theory though, should be able to make a fast lap happen in this one. Oh wow. Now if you manage to blow up an Aurora, you know you've done something real wrong. No, I take it back. I'm liking the MR. I'm noticing that I haven't managed a particularly good time, at least yet, but it's feeling a little more racy to me. That's the technical term. It's more racy. This is gonna be my best time, I think. Oh. Not this lap, last lap. This lap will be my worst time. And I'm flying it differently for no particular reason. So if you're just tuning into the stream now, I talked at the top about how you can both accumulate a lot of rec, which is a sort of currency, by racing, and you can spend a lot of rec, enjoy that rec, by purchasing a fairly wide array of ships that you can then race with and try out, which I think is very valuable, not just for the fun aspect, but for the fact that this will show you how the different ships fly, figure out their differences, and just become a better pilot. I think most folks can make it from Mali to Korea without too much trouble, get themselves to a comm array, but what happens when things get real tight? What happens when you make a foolish mistake on the pad at Korea? You don't have the skill to adjust out of it. Okay, so you see that I definitely got my best time, 52 seconds, on, or not on, but with the MR. So I'm going to go ahead and make that my ship of choice for the live races. Bear with me a sec. And this isn't terribly surprising that I ended up with the MR. I believe that this was the ship that Better Cheddar unequivocally recommended. I think it's the ship that most pilots flew in the Crux Cup. I am saying that off the cuff, so forgive me if I'm incorrect about that. But I think that's the case. Now the question, let's see if we, ooh, okay, I was gonna say, let's see if we can actually find someone who's racing. And we did. Darkosis. Spooky. Well, let's see how we do. Is he flying? I don't see him. I bet we'll find out soon enough as he passes us. Yeah, okay, he's got a Mustang. So it'll be a nice prize if we manage to... Oh. I'm gonna have to fight for this one. So far it's working out, but he's hot on my tail. You can see that that arrow is moving all around. That means they're maneuvering right behind you. Oh, and I overshot that. Oh, it's really easy to get too busy trying to be fast, and then when you do that, you're just gonna crash, pass out. You're not gonna be fast. 1:02. I don't even think I've been over a minute this whole time. Looks like Darkosis is just starting out though, so we've got room to make a few mistakes. And I don't always remember to do this, but particularly on OV, when where the race ends immediately, I try to make sure people can finish their practice. Not really worried about win-loss record. So assuming I'm ahead towards the end of this last lap, I will be slowing down to make sure that Darkosis gets to, oh geez, to make sure that Darkosis gets to finish. Another great thing about racing is that slowing down, doing that, taking second place, I'm still going to get quite a bit of wreck for the time investment. Alright, so let's go ahead and follow Darkosis. See if we can't enjoy his racing line. Here he comes. I actually really love doing this. I love to watch people fly. Oh. Can I regain control? There he is. Alright. And he's coming in for the win. Of course, I'm out of boost. So we'll watch him take it from a distance here. There he goes, and across the line. Not bad, 107. So 333 wreck, not a ton, but for 4 minutes, that's also not too bad. And if you race a lot, you already know this, but also if you race a lot, you're going to accumulate more wreck than you'll ever know what to do with. Alright, let's see if we can find another race. Oh, good. Darkosis and Call Me on Defford. So this will be interesting because we will definitely run out of fuel. Not only is this way too big of a track for an Aurora, but I also happen to be a really crummy pilot when it comes to fuel management. In fact, what I'm gonna do is just not worry about it. I'm gonna fly however I feel like it. And when I run out of fuel, that'll be okay. Let's see if I can make this. This is where I go in the M50. Hey, yeah! I can keep my line. So the Aurora is not too big to make some pretty tight maneuvers. What it is, unfortunately, is just very drifty. Oh. Looks Looks like I'll be able to maintain the lead for the most part while I've got my boost fuel, but I'm going to run out very soon here, and then it's going to be everyone else's race but mine. And I'm out. So now we have a nice little Sunday drive back to the start. I'm not sure I've ever flown an Aurora on Defford before. This is definitely an experience. It might take the rest of the stream to get through it. We'll see. Oh. So that was Darkosis crashing into my butt. One of the quirks of 2.6.3 is that, and I think for the most part the patches before it, it's that, oh, just come on. If you're hit from behind, and this is probably as it should be, if you're hit from behind, you barely feel it sometimes. Even the M50 might just be a little jolt. You might not even feel anything. Guy behind you is usually gonna explode. So that's not just in an Aurora, that's pretty much any ship. I've recovered a little bit of boost fuel, but I want to make sure that I can go top speed on this straightaway. So that's my focus. Alright, so another 10 minutes will be done with this race. Oh jeez, forgot about the drift. Oh, if I flew Defford with an Aurora often, which will just never happen, but if I did, I would probably find a new race line, because that's a little cumbersome going through there in this ship. Looks like we've gained on Darkosis a little bit. Might be able to get ahead of him again for a few moments until I run out of fuel. Nice little goal in this very slow race. That looks like he passed out. And I didn't do so great myself on that turn. And we're out of fuel, so we get to coast once again. I'd like to say this is the slowest race that you'll see as part of, there's Darkosis. Actually, right where he caught up with me last time too. That's very consistent. I'd like to say that these are the slowest races that'll be part of the series, but one of the ships that you can wreck is the Argo, and I will be testing that out at some point. So if you like slow, that will be the stream to watch. The Argo, if the Aurora maneuvers like a brick, the Argo maneuvers like a kettlebell on ice. So it's a lot of fun to race. Oh, looks like I might get passed by Call Me Cooter. Maybe not. Okay, last lap. Oh, let's hit that pole there. Oh, alright. So you gotta turn before the rings sometimes, but you don't want to turn that far before the rings. And we're cruising. You can see I did a little bit worse on the fuel that time around. Didn't make it as far. That's okay. Should get passed between this ring and the next by Darkosis. Here he comes. Wow, like clockwork, that guy. My apologies if I'm mispronouncing Darkosis as a handle. I got to experience a fair bit of that watching the Crux Cup stream. Being called Sredni. Well, I can't remember all the different iterations, but I didn't realize my handle was so hard to pronounce. It's just Sredni. Written out, I tell people, say Sredni really fast. Sredni, and you got it. So I am just tremendously proud that we're actually finishing the race in an Aurora. Usually we would have been beaten by about a mile by now. But hey, we're not that far behind in lap time even. So we'll do one more lap, or not one more lap, we'll do one more race I think, and then we'll say goodnight. So again, 10 minutes, 1400 rec. Not a bad reward. Very dependable too. Got 333 earlier. I think that's about the bottom you're gonna get. And you have a good race, you might get 2500 rec, thereabouts. Right, you get to. So we get to try OV, that's good, I like it. Heck, maybe we'll get 2 races in, we'll see. I'm just glad people are playing. That's not a guarantee these days. Things tend to get a little stale waiting for the next patch. Ooh. Okay. I'll just relearn to fly here and we'll be fine. Yeesh, 112. Not good. Well, Darkosis, if you're out there somewhere, it's been a pleasure racing with you tonight. A little bit better. But we know that we can do 52 seconds, and we should try for that. Emphasis on try. Okay. And it all goes wrong. Move out of the way for Darkosis here. And as he gets close, we'll try to race him into the tunnel. Here he comes. Oh! Well, that's not how it's supposed to go. Alright, there we go. Looks like he had a bit of a rough race too. I seem to remember him faring a little bit better last time we did OV. Okay, well, that's it for the stream tonight. Tomorrow we'll be back at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, going till 11, and I'll probably pick another set of ships from the electronic access, rentable with rec. So thank you for watching the stream. Appreciate it. And if you want to check out rebroadcasts of any of these episodes, you can check out our YouTube channel, A Racer's Perspective on YouTube. You can find us also through our website. And I do archive the videos here as well if you want to check it out through Twitch. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.